They're excited.
Call the Finance Committee meeting to order, May 19, 2026. Roll call.
Really excited to get that project.
Mr. Westmoreland,
Present.
Mr. Anthony,
Here.
Ms. Dominguez, Mr. Moore.
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ask Mr. Moore, if he would, to lead us.
Pledge allegiance to the
All right, we have new business today. Consider the adoption of the 2026-27 salary schedule. Good afternoon, Mr. McNeely.
Good afternoon. The changes that we are proposing are highlighted in yellow. So page 2, the opening paragraph has been redone to align with our new strategic plan. So those are, you see, it aligns to each of the priorities. Also, under the teacher's annual effectiveness stipend, a new category of exemplary was added by the state as the highest level. Dr. Fussell's my backup on all this, so. And so we're proposing $3,000, $1,500, $1,000, and $750 for this category, and then the words effective have been removed from proficient and emerging. And then, so that reflects going down that exemplary certified teachers will receive as opposed to highly effective, and the same thing for item number 2 on page 2. The next page.
So, Mr. McNeely,
Thank
just for clarification, all of that just aligns to the state language, what they use on the rubrics and stuff. And I think there was an increase in those amounts. Didn't we increase them?
Yes.
We also put, again, with the board's belief on effectiveness, performance, there's some increases there as well in the amounts from last year.
Right. And if you remember, so the highly effective 2 years ago was 500. We doubled it to 1,000 2 years ago. Last year we doubled it to 2,000, and now with the new highest category of exemplary, that's 3,000. So basically, the top level has gone from 500 to 3,000 in 3 years. Page 3, a request that came from, I believe, the Transportation and the Bus Drivers Advisory.
Bus driver.
So the perfect attendance for bus drivers, we're increasing it from 200 to 300, and we're adding if they miss one day, and that's not reflected on this page, but if they miss one day, they get $175, I believe, and we'll get to that later on. And then we receive differentiated pay from the state. And so this is language to reflect that based on available state and local funding, the superintendent may approve differentiated pay for hard-to-staff schools in the district. Hard-to-staff schools are defined as schools with high concentrations of economically disadvantaged students that are also identified as underperforming, low-performing schools.
So we get the differentiated pay from the State Department funding, and we bring that to the board, whatever that plan is, before we submit it in the system. We bring that to the board, but it does change from each year. We're not sure what exactly that looks like for next year yet. But when it happens, we'll bring that differentiated support plan to you guys for approval. We mainly put the language here because this is on our website, and we want teachers to know that not only can they get performance pay, but they also, in addition to their base, but they also can get differentiated pay for hard-to-staff or economically disadvantaged, et cetera, that description there, schools. So when we get that, whenever we bring that to the board, whenever we get guidance from the state and we know how much, and we bring that to the board, we can add that at the bottom, down, under this little paragraph.
Page 3. It's not highlighted, but step 32 has been added. Last year we went to 31 steps, so this year we go to 32. Page 4.
Can I pause you?
You used to top out at what, 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, wait.
I'm wondering, have we ever, or have maybe Ms. Stilley, when you worked with other districts, has
I know we can do performance stipends, we can do, certain stipends, but I would like for us to maybe study doing like a milestone stipend for our teachers, where like when they hit 10 years, there's a big extra stipend that you get for making it to 10 years. And we do a ceremony where all the teachers that got a 10-year, stayed with us for 10 years, we recognize them and we present like an extra check to them that year. 15, you do the same thing. 20, I'm just thinking about the possibility that, sometimes particularly some of our neighboring districts, when they see that we have trained up an 8-year or a 9-year teacher, they like to steal them, and then, but if we had something where that teacher said, well, but if I stay with them 2 more years, I'm gonna get,
Good idea.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
$2,500 or something like that. I wonder if that could help
Right.
us.
And the way that we're doing the performance, where you have to be here the next year to get your performance stipend, other than retarees,
Yeah.
helps do the same thing. It's a good idea.
But it is a big deal when they, to have a 10-year teacher, 15-year, 20-year teacher, that we don't have a whole lot of those that are staying with us that long, but maybe we could come up with some sort of incentive to keep them a little bit longer.
We'll take a look at that.
What'd you call that, milestone?
Milestone stipend.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One question, Jeff, on the stipends, and I flipped through it today to read, not stipends, the years. Are we increasing the years also in all the areas, like in secretarial and
Yeah. So
food,
the-
like nutrition? Because I looked at nutrition, I thought it stopped like at 25 or something.
well, those used to go to 24, and so I went to 23, unless I
We've
missed them.
been
Let me go back, let me look at that, like, last year's compared to this year's, and I'll make sure, but I think I added one to every one.
I just
If I
wonder
didn't,
why are we stopping those at 25 when we're doing
We're
teachers
not.
to 32?
They just,
I know
We're
we're
not.
adding it once a year, but why don't we get all of them to 32?
If I were to take the 25 and add it to 30, then you have people who already have 30 years, that it would be like, we'd have a bunch of people with $6,000 and $7,000 raises. So what we did is we're just doing one step, we're adding one step each year, so everybody continues to get steps.
I get it, but I mean, for somebody who's been here for 30-plus years, they're still getting paid as a 25-year employee.
But they were getting paid as a 23-year employee. And we added a step, and we
Well, I just
added
wonder
another step.
why-
It's a lot of money to move
Yeah.
that.
Just wonder why we have different year caps.
I have no idea.
I wasn't here, I don't know, the
was that way.
support
It's
staff
been
was
that way
capped at
forever.
24 or 23, and everybody else was, the teachers were capped at 30. I didn't,
Not really sure.
okay. On page 4, got to be the most successful thing that we've done, the ONCE program. Dr. Fussell's asking that we add a stipend for our high-performing ONCE instructors. And so if they have an evaluation score of 1.7, we're staying with that one, 1.7, they'll receive an annual stipend of $1,000. So once they get their
Effectiveness.
once they get their performance evaluation, then they would get an effectiveness stipend of $1,000 per year. We're adding that.
How is that different from like the highly effective or emerging or?
They don't qualify, they don't qualify for those because they're not teachers. They're paras.
Their instructor.
The ones that only go to 2, their evaluation, so 1.7 or higher, it's just you met it or you don't.
It's a different rubric than teachers have.
Do we have an idea how many would have gotten that last year?
I mean, we'll, as soon as we finish calculating, but I should know that the bigger. So it'll be, we had, I want to say Tina was thinking maybe around 20 that were already at the 1.7 or higher, but it's their attendance that it impacts their effectiveness as well, so there's kind of a deal.
All right, I think the next change, page 13. And that's actually not a change, that was a highlight because it was something we were looking at, but we don't have a change there. Page 19. We're moving the PEP squad from the head coach category where they were getting $2,500 per semester to $750 because pep squads aren't the same as a cheer squad and a dance squad and so we were asked to change that. Page 20 for transportation. With the increase, it's a $400, the 400 flat rate has been there before. We added that if the driver is a full-time TPSS employee also receiving their regular pay during the trip, it'll be reduced to $250. And we can pay them $250 to be the bus driver, but if they're already going on the trip for another reason, that's why it's a reduced amount.
Like if they were a coach?
Like if they're the beta sponsor and they're being paid to be the beta sponsor to be on the event and then they drive the bus. Is that, all right? And then here back to the perfect attendance that we talked about with school bus drivers. So now it's no longer perfect attendance, it's an attendance stipend. And if perfect attendance is $300 and if they miss one day, it's $175. And then.
Is it 175 or they receive 175?
175.
Yeah.
And increasing the bus attendance from 100 to 125.
Do we have data yet, Jeff, on whether that incentive was helpful in keeping our drivers?
They say it is.
And like most attendants, it kind of slacks off April and May, but from August to February and March, we were around 75 to, I think a high month was right at 90%. Yes, sir. Of perfect attendance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Versus the previous years where we had a lot of missed days?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The transportation team, they say that it's working, that it helps with attendance. So.
And then for the safety stipend, we're changing the qualification to remove no safety-related write-ups or violations issued by their supervisor, and strictly if they have no at-fault accidents or incidents during the semester. And then we're adding a training, so a bus driver who oversees a new bus driver getting their 14-hour behind-the-wheel training will get a stipend of $150 upon that person completing their hours.
Right now, they get zero.
Right.
If they don't complete the hours, then they don't get the stipend, even though they helped them for,
Well, they just have to complete the 14 hours.
They just have to do behind-the-wheel training.
no, but he said if they
That'd be a
finish.
good teacher.
But what if they get 12, if they get 12 hours and that person just got 12 hours?
I would encourage them to show up to get the last two. I would.
Do we have to go from, you get one write-up to, you can have as many write-ups as you want and still get the safety stipend? I mean, so we could have somebody that's getting a safety write-up from their supervisor every week, but they didn't get an accident, so we're gonna give them $500.
Well, if someone's getting a safety write-up every week, hopefully we're going to get to the point where the reprimand becomes a termination recommendation.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
And an incident is not an accident. An incident could be getting stuck, not following the protocols. All right, on page 23, the bus driver pay per trip was increased from 30 to 35. All right, on page 26, this isn't a change, it's a change in the wording. Last year, it said that they had to be in the Parade of Champions and 2 local parades, including the Fair Parade and another local parade. And there was some confusion, so it clearly says you gotta be in 3 parades. The Tangipahoa Parish Fair Parade, the Parade of Champions, and whatever local parade of their choice. So Ponchatoula can do Strawberry, A-Meet, and them can do Oyster. Roseland can do the new Catfish Festival Parade. I'm assuming they'll have one of those. All right. All right, and then page 27 begins the nuts and bolts of what was a summary before. So you see highly effective is being changed to exemplary, removing the wording of out-of-state license. And then on page 28, we added the the language about employees who retire from TRSL will receive their performance stipend if that's allowed by TRSL. Once again, changing to the adding the exemplary, and then making the same changes to the schedule that we did at the beginning. I think we're coming in for a landing. Yeah, and there's no changes in 31 and 32. That was just highlighted in green for some discussion we were having. And then the last page, 34, that was a one-time stipend with the state, so that needs to be deleted, and hopefully they will do another one this year, and we'll add it back.
All right, do we hear a motion to adopt the salary schedule?
I make a motion to adopt as presented.
Motion by Mr. Mingus.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Anthony. Any discussion? I think we kind of discussed it as you went through, so.
Yeah, it was good.
Any additional questions? Not, we'll call for a vote.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
Ms. Dominguez?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, that's all that's on our agenda, so at this time we'll adjourn the Finance Committee meeting today.